Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Grab Your Notes. This is Reshna and today we are going to deal about the topic admissions under Indian Evidence Act. So let's get started. So let's start with the topic. An admission is a statement, oral or documentary, which suggests any inference as to any fact in issue or relevant fact and which is made by any of the persons and under the circumstances hereinafter mentioned. Now let us know what are the ingredients of the section. Number 1. An admission is a statement which may be oral or documentary. In the case of Bhagilal vs. State, it was held that statement means something stated, it does not require us to state to a particular person. Ingredient number 2, which suggests any inference as to any fact in issue or relevant fact. Ingredient number 3, which is made by a person authorized by the Indian Evidence Act. And lastly, number 4, and under the circumstances as described by the Indian Evidence Act. In the case of Raja Pratap Bahadur Singh vs. Raja Rajgan Maharaja Jagjit Singh 1986, it was held that admissions are very weak kind of evidence and the court may reject the same if it is satisfied from the other circumstances that they are untrue. Now let us know what is the effect of admission. Number 1. Admission acts as a waiver of proof. If party has admitted a fact, it dispenses with the necessity of proving that fact against him. Number 2. Admission is a substantive piece of evidence. Number 3. Admission is not a conclusive proof. A person who has admitted the fact has right to contradict it in subsequent proceeding. Therefore, he can rebut it by saying that it was given voluntarily under stress, etc. Number 4. Admission may operate as estoppel. Now let's get into the next section, that is, admission by party to proceeding or his agent. The section provides the statement made by a party to a proceeding or by an agent to such party whom the court regards under the circumstances of the case as expressly or impliedly authorized by him to make them are admissions. Now let's get to the next topic, that is by suitor in representative character. Statements made by parties to suit, suing or sued in a representative character are not admissions unless they were made while the party making them held that character. Statements made by number 1. Parties interested in subject matter, that is, persons who have any proprietary or pecuniary interest in the subject matter of the proceedings and who makes the statement in their character of persons so interested, or person from whom interest derived, that is, person from whom the parties to the suit have derived their interest in the subject matter of the suit are admissions if they are made during the continuance of the interest of the persons making the statement. Okay, now let's understand the section by knowing the ingredients of the section. Actually, Section 18 lays down the fine classes of persons who can make an admission. And they are A. Party to the proceeding, B. Agent authorized by such party, C. Party suing or sued in a representative character making admissions while holding such character, D. Person who have any proprietary or pecuniary interest in the subject matter of the proceeding during the continuance of such interest. And the last one, person from whom the parties to the suit have derived their interest in the subject matter of the suit during the continuance of such interest. Note that what is admitted by a party to be true must be presumed to be true unless the contrary is shown. Now let us know what is party suing or suit in a representative character. This means they may be trustees, executors, administrators, managers in the character of an executor or administrator or assignee of a bankrupt. It is important that such persons must make the statement in their character of persons so interested. Let's move into the next section, that is section number 19. It deals with admission by persons whose position must be proved as against party to suit. This section says, statements made by persons whose position or liability it is necessary to prove as against any party to the suit are admissions, if such statements would be relevant as against such persons in relation to such position or liability in a suit brought by or against them, and if they are made whilst the person making them occupies such position or is subject to such liability. Okay, now let's break the section and understand its ingredients. A. Statement made by persons. B. Whose position or liability it is necessary to prove as against any party to the suit are admissions. C. If such statements would be relevant as against such persons in relation to such position or liability in a suit brought by or against them. And finally D. And if they are made while the person making them occupies such position or is subject to such liability. Okay, let's take the help of an illustration to understand the section. A undertakes to collect rent from B. B sues A for not collecting rent due from C to B. A denies that rent was due from C to B. In the above mentioned illustration, C has made a statement against his interest, so he may be relied upon. C's position is clearly against B because if he falsely denies that he has not paid his rent, he will have to face pecuniary loss and he will have to pay house rent thrice. This section should be read with section 18 and section 20 of this Act. The object of section 19 is not to lay down that certain statements are relevant or admissible, but merely to add to the category of persons by whom a statement may be made before it can be considered to an admission within the terms of the Act. There is also a principle which says this section forms an exception to the rule that the statements made by strangers to a proceeding are not admissible as against the parties. Now let us know the scope of the section. The statements referred to in this section become admission only provided that they satisfy the requirements of section 17 as regard their nature and section 21 or any of the following section as regards as their liability. And section 20 deals with the concept admissions by persons expressly referred to by party to suit. The section says statements made by person to whom a party to the suit has expressly referred for information in reference to a matter in dispute are admission. Okay, let's understand it with the help of an illustration. The question is whether a horse sold by A to B is sound. A says to B, go and ask C because C knows all about it. Here, C's statement is an admission. The ingredients of the section are, out of the two parties to a suit, one party refers third party for information in reference to a matter in dispute. The third person makes a statement in respect of the property or matter in dispute. The statements of the third person is relevant and an admission. Section 21 deals with the concept proof of admissions against persons making them and by or on their behalf. The section provides admissions are relevant and may be proved as against the persons who makes them or his representative in interest. But they cannot be proved by or on behalf of the person who makes them or by his representative in interest except in the following cases. Exception number 1. An admission may be proved by or on behalf of the person making it when it is of such a nature that if the person making it were dead, it would be relevant as between the third persons under section 32 of the Act. Exception number 2. An admission may be proved by or on behalf of the person making it when it consists of a statement of the existence of an state of mind or body relevant or in issue made at or about the time when such state of mind or body existed and is accompanied by the conduct rendering its falsehood improbable. Exception number 3. An admission may be proved by or on behalf of the person making it if it is relevant otherwise than as an admission. Okay, let's take the help of an illustration. That is, A is accused of fraudulently having in his possession counterfeit coins which he knew it to be counterfeit. He offers to prove that he asked a skillful person to examine the coin as he doubted whether it was counterfeit or not, and that the person did examine it and told him it was genuine. A may prove these facts because they are explanatory of conduct influenced by fact and issue. Let us understand the ingredients of the section. A. An admission is relevant and may be proved as against the person who makes it or his representative in interest. B. It cannot be proved by or on behalf of the person who make it or by his representatives. C. Except in 3 cases. Number 1. When it is of such a nature that if the person making it were dead, it would be relevant as between third persons under section 32. And the second exception, when it consists of a statement of the existence of a state of mind or body made at or about the time when such state of mind or body existed and is accompanied by conduct rendering its falsehood improbable. And the last exception, if it is relevant otherwise than as an admission. Okay, now let's discuss some case laws in regard to this section. Bhasan Singh versus Janki Singh. In this case, it was held that an admission made by a party in a plaint signed and verified by him may be used against him in another suit. In other suits, this admission cannot be regarded as conclusive and it is open to the party to show that it is not true. There was another case, Basanti versus State of Himachal Pradesh 1987. In this case, it was held that the statement made outside the court by the wife of the deceased that she and the other named person has committed the murder was held to be provable under this section. Let's move into the next section, that is section number 22. This section deals with the concept when oral admission as to the content of documents are relevant. The section read as, oral admissions as to the content of a document are not relevant unless and until the party proposing to prove them shows that he is entitled to give secondary evidence of the content of such document under the rules hereinafter mentioned, or unless the genuineness of the document produced is in question. The ingredients of the section are, oral admissions as to the contents of a document are not relevant unless A. the party proposing to prove them shows that he is entitled to give secondary evidence of the contents of such document, or B. the genuineness of the document produced is in question. And let's get into the last section of the video, that is admissions in civil cases when relevant. The section says, in civil cases, no admission is relevant if it is made either upon an express condition that evidence of it is not to be given, or under circumstances from which the court can infer that the parties agreed together that evidence of it should not be given. The explanation to this section says, nothing in this section shall be taken to exempt any barrister, pleader, attorney or vakil from giving evidence of any matter of which he may be compelled to give evidence under section 126. The ingredients of this section are, an admission is not relevant in a civil case if it is made A. upon an express condition that evidence of it is not to be given, or B. under circumstances from which the court can infer that the parties agreed together that evidence of it should not be given. And the explanation to this section says, a barrister, pleader, attorney or vakil is not exempted from giving evidence of any matter of which he may be compelled to give under section 126. And that is all about a basic idea of admission, which deals from section 17 to section 23. Okay guys, let's continue in the next video. Happy learning guys!